Luminexx is brand new to the Aloxxi portfolio. Luminexx is Aloxxi's brand new gel cream permanent hair color. It rocks so hard. I have been using it nonstop. What I love about it, one of my favorite things is the size, the tube size.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing is the ingredients. You will notice in the hair how shiny, healthy, happy, which has always been my favorite thing about Aloxxi. And Luminexx does not disappoint in that aspect at all.
Not at all. We're ahead of the game.
We are way ahead of the game. Speaking of which, we've actually been developing this color, some don't know this, for years. This was like a pre-COVID baby that Bob, any of you who have known Aloxxi may know Bob Siebert. He is a stud, especially when it comes to development and product development. And this has been his brainchild since pre-COVID. So we picked up the reins this year and we ran with it, and it is just not stopping.
This was a very, very well planned out color, and I think it's outstanding with all of the extra work that went into it. Little delay with COVID, but it's right on time because this industry is moving toward the skinification of beauty products, and Luminexx is doing the same thing. We're using high-grade ingredients, skincare-grade ingredients that are going to help protect your scalp, add shine. We'll go through them in a little bit. But also, the technology behind this color is called surface intelligence technology, and it is the technology that is the driving force behind this color, and it's brand new and it's state-of-the-art. We have encapsulated pigments. They help the color stay undeveloped until it's ready to be developed. So it's like a little hug around each color pigment that doesn't develop or oxidize until it needs to, which is really great for even results in your color.
Fun fact, surface intelligent technology in this was that we were actually nominated for an award at Cosmoprof this year.
Before the launch of the line.
Yes, before the launch of the line at all. So this is months prior to our launch. We were nominated for a Cosmoprof award for the technology that's in this. The skincare grade ingredients that we're seeing in here are things like Sacha Inchi seed oil. You know, if you have been with Aloxxi, you know that we have fatty acid throughout all of our color ranges, helping to protect the hair. We also have lutein, which is derived from calendula, and that's in a couple other products of ours, but what it does is help protect from UV light as well as blue light. So you're on your screens, you're on your phones. This is helping to protect your color. We also have sugar beet extract, which has a ton of amazing qualities about it. But one of my favorites, fun fact that you remember when we were just in LA, I Googled like, what are all the awesome things that sugar beet extract does? And it actually helps to demineralize. So while we're processing color, we're helping to demineralize the hair. And if you're in an area that uses well water or has some over mineralized city water,
hard water in Texas.
Yeah, exactly. That's killer.
We have chicory root prebiotic, and the benefit of that is everybody's into microbiomes lately, which is really, really important for your gut, but it also plays into your skin. So prebiotics feed good bacteria, and you need good bacteria to have healthy skin that's all very well balanced. So we have chicory root prebiotic that helps to balance the microbiome of the scalp, and it also helps reduce irritation. This is a very low irritation line. And Sam, our favorite part of this line, it is both PPD and Resorcinol free, which is huge. PPD, Resorcinol free, low irritation. We've got our skincare grade ingredients that are helping to add shine, nourishment to the scalp. Everything in this color line is developed to last for longevity, impeccable gray coverage. That is no different from the rest of our line. And we're here to be the leaders of the beauty world in skinification of our beauty products.
Absolutely. Hair care is on a whole new level, especially with this color line. So we're balancing the microbiome of the scalp while we're coloring the hair. We are protecting the scalp, and we have completely eliminated well-known irritants to the scalp. So next is the shine. Like, can we talk about the shine?
Mega shine. It's unreal. Look at that shine. I mean, on a mannequin hair, those of you who are stylists and work on mannequins, you know that it's kind of a wild card. Whenever you get a mannequin, you never know if they're going to have great hair or not. And the shine to get on a mannequin head that just speaks to how much this color line is nourishing the hair as it processes.
Absolutely. So 100% gray coverage. It's also really versatile. When we developed Luminexx, we wanted to simplify hair color. We have 36 shades to start with. We will, of course, be adding to the range as we move through years of development, and as we're using it, we're finding maybe holes where we need as artists to fill, but we're starting with 36 color range. All can be intermixed to create any of the colors that you see in Chroma. So if you're a Chroma or a tones user, you can absolutely make and create any of the shades that you're loving. This is not only great for gray coverage, for lifting like we find in our permanent range, but also to refresh color. So we have our 7 volume, which we use in tones in our demi line. We can now use with Luminexx to refresh color. It's hydrating, just like you'll find in tones. And the gel cream consistency is very similar to tones. I keep talking about that because tones is like my baby. And then Luminexx came, and I was like, I mean, I still love tones, don't get me wrong, but yeah, it's pretty amazing to get all of that wrapped up into one color. Amazing.
And booth renters, if you're out there and you are limited on space, this is a very well-rounded color line. Just because it's 36 shades to begin with does not mean that you're lacking in any way. You've got gray coverage, we have reds, we have every shade represented, but we do have plans to grow and fill in the gaps. But you are by no means limited in what you can do. And how cool is it that it can be used to refresh ends too? You don't have to use a second line. So if you're limited on space or limited on funds and you want to bring in a line that's going to give you a whole lot of power behind the chair, this is the one to do it. You can use it at the scalp, you could use it through the ends. The skincare grade ingredients nourish the ends of the hair, so it's not like using permanent color with, you know, a different line that's going to hurt the hair over time. It's going to nourish the hair over time, which is really, really cool. Not many lines can do that. Not many permanent lines can do that.
Exactly. And it's 36 shades, but they are very strategically placed where you can intermix to like a 6 and a 7. For example, on my mannequin here, on my mannequin here, on this side, I actually use the GV series, so the Gold Violet series, in 5 and 7 to make a 6 GV.
Perfect. Pull that back. Can you see that with the other side to like show the difference? And like, look at that. Her hair looks healthier.
This is raw. I didn't want to do anything to this to manipulate it. I wanted you guys to be able to see not only the color, but the condition of the hair. Design of the hair.
That's such an easy application too that you did. Did you highlight her? That's something that looks like it could be done easy behind the chair.
Yeah, absolutely. So all over, I used 5 GB and 7 GB to create 6. And then I went through and just did these slice panels with 10 AA just to create a little bit of highlight throughout.
Nice.
And this deeper color is actually with 7 volume. I wanted to show like how incredible the pigmentation is. You can
tell super
the saturation for 7 volume.
Yeah, and that still held so much richness even for being 7 volume. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Nice work.
Oh, thanks, friends. Show me your mannequin and tell me what you think.
So I'm obsessed with the cowboy copper trend right now. I know it's like copper, and some hairstylists like laugh at that because it's like just copper. I mean, this color's been around forever, but whatever. I'm from Texas. I'm loving the cowboy copper trend. But I love that trend because it's very specific. And I am a huge lover of any time that I can do copper. I'm a blonding specialist and I do a lot of corrective work. So I only work with orange sometimes. So I love this specific color because number one, it's trendy. And number two, it's so specific of how much red you get to use. And I think Aloxxi's reds just stand up against other color lines anyway. And this is a really cool opportunity to show like that background kind of red shade, but more like copper forward. So I did some cowboy copper. I showed you her shine a minute ago.
I'm here for the cowboy copper. It's not just copper. Like this is like, to me, it's like copper meets leather.
Right?
You know what I mean?
There's some brown.
Yeah, I love it.
It's such a good marriage of like the brown, the copper, and then the background red. Now some of it, I've seen some people on Instagram do beautiful work on it, but sometimes it's a little more red forward and sometimes it's a little more orange forward, but either way, the blend is still beautiful. Like I love this trend right now. So I had this super short mannequin and she was pre-lightened already, which was really nice, but she had no other color, which was really a cool find. So I got to show off the power of Luminexx while not having to like work over colored hair. So on her, I'm going to put her closer to the screen for a minute so you can see really well.
Pretty.
You can see that I did kind of that mid, like orange forward with a background red cowboy copper. And within her shade range, ooh, okay, show this side. So she just has a little bit of highlighting.
Gorgeous.
Yeah,
What
just
was
a tiny
the formula
bit.
you used?
Her formula for her base, I kept her shade range within about a level and a half, maybe 2 levels. I didn't want the cowboy copper shade to be so highlight forward and then like a background base color. I wanted it to be really meshed together, so I kept the shade range really, really tight. So her base is 5NG, that's our natural gold, which used to be natural, not used to be, but that's natural tan in our Chroma series. So we have natural gold in Luminexx. I did 5NG, 6C, and a little bit of 6RR at her base. So just a tiny bit of R, I don't want it to be red forward. And I did that with 20 volume at the base only. Then I worked with 2 different formulas for her mid-lengths and ends. So over her pre-lightened areas, I used equal parts 7G and 8C with 20 volume. And that gives us that pretty coppery shade.
Gorgeous.
Okay.
Love that.
And I have a copper represented in each formula. And then on her ends, where there was not any pre-lightened ends, I did 7G, 6C, and 6RR, but I used a little bit more 6RR in this formula. That way it can reflect more red at the bottom of the hair so it doesn't get too washed out. And then all I did was just alternate that base, a global base application about an inch, inch and a half out. And then I applied her, depending on what was in my hand, her ends or her pre-lightened formula. And I used a comb and I just blended it all together. One development, one rinse. And that's the other cool thing about this color line is that that surface intelligence technology really helps for the color to rinse clean and quickly from the hair, which is really, really cool. And it prevents staining. All those really good skincare ingredients nourish the skin so much that there's very little staining. Now, not on mannequins, because mannequins are a wild card. This is not skin, right? But on humans, I mean, you can really limit the amount of staining, especially on those darker levels of gray coverage. But anyway, I just finished her out, and you can see what I started with back here, which is just like a neutral,
like a level 5
brown. Yeah, just a basic brown mannequin.
Love.
We zhuzhed her up.
So to speak
Cowboy copper.
to the like super clean rinse, I was just at a VIP event in our Hollywood home, and we had a bottle. We used 5 VV and 4 VV, so that's level 5.
Oh, nice.
Intense violet, and it was a completely clean rinse. And I just noticed we have Bob on, who is the brains behind Luminexx. The gel cream consistency is such a game changer in the permanent color world because of the speed as well. It's crazy how much time you shave off of a surface, being able to apply with a gel cream that's still going to cover 100% gray, and then being able to rinse clean and fast. It's unbelievable. I'm really excited about the packaging. The packaging is so sexy. Like, this is the Luminexx packaging. Again, we have a way larger tube. We're looking at a 3.3 ounce tube. And it's
huge.
1 to 2, right? Which is unbelievable. In our range, you'll find a beige or neutral box that will represent all of our gray coverage or natural series. So we have N, NG, and NABR, so natural ash brown, which I love. If you've used natural ash before in Chroma, what's great about having that brown as a tertiary color at the end there is it just rounds it out. So you're getting 100% gray coverage, but it's still cool forward, which is fabulous. Then we have our blue boxes. They're just so pretty. Right?
They're so pretty. They're so grown up.
They look like skincare boxes.
They do. They really do. Can you show a tube too so we can see the pretty like cream and black?
So the blue is going to be all your cool shades, which I love. So when you're glancing into your color box or your color bar,
look at that.
Clearly distinct. Ooh, and it has this like yummy, like satiny feel to it.
I love.
Matte and then last we have our warm, or like this is like a buttery, like yellow orangey color. This is going to be all of our fashion shades or our warm shades. So like this is our 7GV. We still have our alphanumerical coding, so 7 gold violet, and then we also have international numbering system for those of you that it's easier for me, I love a numbering system. You can see it everywhere. If you're translating from another color brand, it makes it easy on you. You'll still find that on all of our boxes.
And I want to show off our beautiful Luminexx color swatch book, because look at how small this thing is. Like,
I know.
It's the size of my head, which is perfect. I mean, sometimes you get these like ginormous like encyclopedia books, which is great, but this is so compact and it's so pretty. Sam can take the credit, and also Robertina and Tommy for working on these gorgeous models. But this is a great little tool to have on your station to show off our entire range. And I love this tight little book that's just like so, it's perfect size. And it's got all of the information that you need, a removable card with all of your Aloxxi information that you need. Mixing, we've got everything about shade range. So I just like to show this off because it's very, very pretty, and they worked very hard on this, and I love it. It's perfect to put on your station, right? Like, don't you want to just look at that little ingredient cornucopia?
And those colors, like on the inside of those books, they pop out, and on the back side, fun fact, for those colorists out there that like to know exactly what's in the tube, right? We have gold, we have copper. You want to know exactly what the colors, the pigment inside. If you've turned that around, it will tell you exactly what pigments you're looking at.
These are primary colors.
Invaluable tool. Absolutely.
Invaluable tool. Yeah, super cool to have. And so, just so pretty and compact. With cost. Sam told us that our tube size is now 3.3 ounces. Now, most tubes, if you're using tubes of permanent hair color, you're typically working with a 2-ounce tube or 2.2-ounce tube, which it's hard to see on screen, but this tube is massive. Like it holds a lot of color, a whole extra ounce plus of color. Here is an old tube of tones. And look at this massive tube of Luminexx. Like, that's a whole extra chunk of color. That's amazing. Aloxxi has a deal right now with Luminexx, which is huge. You have the opportunity to purchase 6 tubes of Luminexx color and receive a liter of developer for free for life. This will never end.
So that is not a deal now. That is a forever deal. That is a
permanent.
We are a free developer for life company. As with Chroma, when you buy 12 tubes, you get 1 developer. When you buy 6 tubes of color with Luminexx, you get 1 free developer.
It's huge. And the mixing ratio for this color line is 1:2, which is different from Chroma being 1 to 1.5. But that only helps you behind the chair. That is a little bit more in your bowl that helps this color line go so much further. So these 1 tube of Luminexx, 1 tube can get you between 3 and 6 applications, depending on what you're doing. If it's a base color, if you're doing a color refresh, or if they're doing something complicated, you know, like a couple different formula application. So that's a lot. That's a lot of clients from 1 tube. So imagine with 6 tubes of color, you get a free bottle of developer. That's between 18 and 36 applications, depending on what you mix between 1 and 2. That's insane. And you get free developer for life, which is so cool. I don't think any other brands are doing that.
No, so I don't know any other brand that's giving away developer. And it's 35 minutes max development time.
Yep.
That's it. 100% gray coverage, mixed 1 to 2, 35 minutes.
Do you find that the gray coverage is comparable to Chroma? Yes.
Absolutely.
Across the line, this is the same type of gray coverage. But I like that we have no need for double in gray coverage series. Which is
that.
No, you weren't.
I was.
So we don't need it. In this color line, it's not necessary. The pigment load is so incredible at going in and saturating the hair just enough that the gray coverage is impeccable. At the studio, Sam was talking about, we were all together in the beginning of August and we did a lot of gray coverage. We had some live models that did great, and their gray coverage was stunning. And it was still shiny. There was no inky coverage that was looking matte on the hair. It was shiny, reflective, and 100% gray coverage. And in 35 minutes.
Right.
They didn't have to sit for 45, which was so cool.
Bob, he's done like 1,100 heads when we were testing.
Yeah.
Like a wild amount of hair he has done with
his
this.
Baby.
And he had several clients that he would do the NN series on in Chroma, right? Which is that intense pigment made for gray coverage. It was difficult to cover grays. And he didn't need that at all.
The ammonia content is perfect. It's still very low compared to Chroma. But again, we don't have PPD, which is nice. So you're like lessening the chance of irritation. Some people, I mean, if you've seen a PPD reaction in real life, I mean, that's crazy. Some people who are really allergic, their whole head swells up, which is nuts. And this, we just took it away. We don't want to deal with that.
No.
Jerry says the coverage is amazing, which I agree with. We do have blonde shades in the range, which is, so we're not leaving anybody out. We have some lighter series that you can work with. Oh, that 10AA that Sam used.
Dude,
okay.
The 10AA, after my heart.
Yummy.
If you've played with the 10AA in chroma or in tones, you will love it.
It's beautiful. Depending on which developer you're using, you can get up to 3 levels of lift within Luminexx. So if you're using 40 volume, and depending on your starting level, very important, always go back to your properties of your hair, texture, porosity, starting point, if they've been pre-colored or not. But if you are using it on virgin hair and you're using 40 volume, you have the opportunity to get up to 3 levels of lift. Can you use toning? For toning, will it lift the hair if I use 7 volume?
So if you're toning and you have somebody with like a deep shadow root and you're afraid you're going to bump them into warm, it does have ammonia in it. So be cautious of that. I personally have had this many a times. I have several clients like that very ashy base, and I have used Luminexx to tone them multiple times, the 10AA with 7 volume. I have not scooched into warm at all.
Right.
At all. So you
I
can use
either.
it with 7 volume, mixed 1 to 2, and you want to develop that visual development like you would with tones up to 35 minutes. Is Luminexx Aloxxi's answer to a line that can be used for permanent toning? Absolutely.
So yes, and that's
it's ammonia free. So this
we
is
are
actually
a blend of AMEA.
Yes.
We are an AMEA blend. We are not ammonia free. It's still a very low ammonia content compared to chroma and compared to other brands, but we are an AMEA blend. But yes, it can be used for permanent toning.
In any of our Aloxxi color swatch books, we also have an underlying pigment chart. So it's important to pay attention to that. If you are lifting someone out of those lower levels, you can see the underlying pigment in there is a red. So be mindful. You may want to mix in some of the AA series to help counterbalance. You have that NABR, maybe a little A in there just to counterbalance that warmth that you're seeing in a level 4.
And to talk about our developer range too, you can see on our chart that'll tell you which developer you're using and levels of lift achieved.
So on her, we pre-lifted her, and then we did permanent tone her with 10 AA, 9 Violet Ash, the 921, and we used the 9 GV, the Gold Violet, to give her this warm and cool effect. But the really fun thing about this, which proves the just amazingness of Luminexx, is we pre-lifted her, and then I went over that with 10 AA, 10.11, and 30 volume over pre-lifted hair, and it's still that shiny. Like I was able to get a couple little levels of lift on pre-lightened hair, and she's still happy, healthy, shiny, which just speaks to the
Thank you, skincare ingredients. Permanent toning is totally a personal choice. You do not have to tone permanent, but what I think a lot of people are going to use this for is base color. When you do a base color and you want to refresh the ends, you have the opportunity to use tones, or with Luminexx, you can pull it through the hair using our 7 volume developer in Luminexx. So permanent toning can also be in lighter ranges, and really any of the shades that are in Luminexx are available for permanent toning. It's just going to give a little bit more longevity to the color that you're using. Totally a personal choice. Go back to the textures and the porosity of your hair, your clients, what you're using, but you have the opportunity to use it. You do not have to use it as a permanent toner. Thank you so much. I hope you go out and rush and purchase Luminexx and put it on every client that you can.
The openers are super good deals. If you haven't, if you're looking at Luminexx, go for the openers. You get so much more bang for your buck.
And remember, after that, 6 tubes, free developer. Amazing.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everyone.